Thank you guys for being new, because they don't ever feed us.
Scout them out.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
That's
all right.
We're taking full advantage of this.
I call the August 12th, 2024 Goshen Board of Education meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Schenkel, can you please call the roll?
Mr. West. Present. Mrs. Werke.
Present.
Mrs. Paprocki.
Here.
Mr. Rivera. Here. Mrs. Gray.
Here. Do we have a motion to approve the August board meeting agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Schenkel, can you please call the roll?
Mr. West.
Yes.
Mrs. Werke.
Yes.
Mrs. Paprocki.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Mrs. Gray.
Yes. I'd like to call for a moment of silence at this time. We've lost several warriors in the past month, and I'd like us just to take time to think of their friends and family and ask for safety and peace over our country and community. Thank you. Please stand as Superintendent Mr. Bailey leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome Assistant Superintendent, Mrs. Scherzinger, who will introduce our new staff.
I know all of you were in attendance today, so you've hopefully gotten to meet all of them, but we'd like to do a little informal recognition of our new staff. We'll have your building principal use your slide from our opening day to introduce you, and then we would like for you to introduce who you brought with you. Once this portion is over, you may go home because I know you're exhausted. It's been a long day. It's going to be a real long week. So we're going to start with Mark Cook Elementary, and Mr. Larson is here to introduce his new staff member.
I guess I'm going to go over here. So I am actually the assistant principal, and I'm the preschool director. So it is my distinct privilege to introduce our new preschool teacher, Ms. Jennifer Manning. And I just got to say, I know you can all read her slide, but you know, it does say she was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. However, you would never guess, because this is probably one of the most dedicated teachers I've ever seen. She, even before, like right when she was hired, she had 1,000 questions of what she needed to do. And she is probably one of the few people that always wants to also learn a lot. She wants to learn anything she can. She wants to soak it up. So I'm so happy that she's going to be part of our team. It feels like yesterday I was up here being introduced just last year. And so I'm so excited because now, I mean, unless they kick me out, I'm hopefully will be here for years and years to come, just like Jennifer. Hopefully she's here for years and years to come because Goshen is such an amazing place. And it just shows that, I mean, she brought her family here. Even though I met her in Milford, I stole her from Milford. And even though all of her kids still go to Milford, she hopefully sees the importance of Goshen, how awesome we are here. And maybe next year they'll all move like I did. So yeah, who did you bring tonight?
All right, so I brought my husband, Jason, my stepson, Maddox, my daughter, Jessica, my other daughter, Juliet, and my son, John.
Side note, she does have family in the district. It lies until after I hired her, but she is the niece of Heather Redworth. Is that correct?
Oh, cousin.
Cousin of
I
Heather
call
Redworth,
her
sorry.
my aunt because she's a little older. So yeah.
Just a little bit older.
What's that in a minute?
I know. All right, so I have the privilege of introducing Spalding Elementary school teachers because Mrs. Andrews is being a mom tonight. So I am excited to introduce, there's 3 new teachers at Spalding Elementary, and the first one is Jillian Brown. Come on over. That's right. That's right. Jillian is going to be teaching 4th grade ELA at Spalding Elementary School. Side note, she also has family in the district.
Hillary Gadio.
Everyone knows Mrs. Gadio.
Yeah.
So cousin?
Yes.
Cousin. That's right.
You call her aunt also?
As cousin for now.
Because she's
Because she's
old.
old.
I'm putting that in the
Oh, do not
right
put
now.
I love that I got like 2 in a row. We have some Bearcats in the house, which that's my alma mater too. We have some Bearcats workers. I know. Awesome. So, go Cats.
Yes.
Stay here.
Okay.
Who did you bring with you?
I brought my mom and my grandma.
Nice to meet you. Next we have Madeline Rayford. No, sorry, there's a traffic jam there. I'll go after you. Madeline's coming to us with a year of experience. She taught last year in a charter school. Oh, no, kindergarten. Kindergarten.
Yep.
She's going to be teaching 3rd grade language arts at Spalding Elementary School. And you spent the summer in Colorado. Yes, all summer long. And she came back. It was amazing. So, who did you bring with you?
I brought my boyfriend Tommy.
And no stranger to all of us, Aaron Walt. Aaron actually was the building sub last year at Goshen High School and found a love for education. And so now we've hired her up and she's going to be teaching special education at Spalding Elementary School. Your first degree was in?
I was in studio arts.
Studio arts. So her husband is Garrett. He teaches at Goshen High School as well. So we are very thankful to have you. Oh, sorry. Who would you like to introduce tonight? You brought with you? Garrett Walt. Garrett Walt. All right. And now Miss Glenn's going to be up here for a little while.
About an hour. You got an
Because
hour.
it seems like on the competition this year. We did add some staff at the middle school this year. Our largest class is going through the middle school. So to kind of decrease some of our class sizes, we've added staff members as well there. So, oh, sure, I'll
Is that
click.
okay?
That sounds great.
All right. First up, we have Tara McConaughey. Come on down. All right. So Tara was our most recent hire, and we are so excited to have her. She comes to us with a lot of experience in education, but she's trying out something new this year with us. She's going to be an IS. She's going to be working with some 6th and 7th graders at the middle school. So we're excited to have her. Can you introduce who you have with you?
Yeah, I brought my youngest son, Carson. He'll be in 8th grade and help him.
All right, next up, Brady McKeever. So Brady is going to be a 6th grade math teacher at the middle school this year. She has a connection to Goshen. Her mom is a teacher at Spalding. Lori Doctor is her mom. Brady comes to us with 8 years experience teaching math. She worked at Little Miami, but she's super excited to be at Goshen. She's heard great things
Very much.
all along. So we're super excited to have Brady. Brady, who do you have with you?
This is my husband, Jake.
Hi, Jake.
He already has a plan. Sometimes students come to you and they say, we didn't learn that last year, but her mom was the 5th grade math teacher. So she's just going to call her mom. And say, Mom, these kids say you didn't teach
And
them.
she already looked at my class list and I have like more than half of the kids that
Perfect.
she already has. And I was I'm like,
It's a different type of
Mommy
movie.
told me.
That's right.
All right, next up, Miss Dinah. All right, so Dinah is a cat as well. Cats. But also she is a Goshen grad, which we just have to like super excited to have her come back to Goshen. She's going to teach 8th grade language arts this year. Who did you bring with you?
Okay, I brought my sister Adeline, her boyfriend Trevor, my dad John, and my mom Tanya.
Samantha's going to be teaching 7th grade math this coming school year, and she did a long-term subbing in 7th grade math at Deer Park, correct? So she got all of that like jittery stuff out, ready to go. So who did you bring? Anybody with you?
I did not, I brought myself.
Okay.
I already told you she's very dedicated because she was doing student teaching and couldn't miss. So she and I met during the eclipse. I hired her. We stood out there with our glasses on. She was very serious about getting in during her window of opportunity.
That's
Right, Mr. Logan Hiker. All right, so this is another familiar face. Logan joins us to be an 8th grade social studies teacher. He did go to elementary and middle school here.
Yeah, I went to Mark Hook, Spalding, the middle school. So grew up in Goshen, really.
Yeah. He's also a cat, right?
Yes, very.
Yes. So excited about that. And tell us who you are.
So I brought a couple of familiar faces for some of you. My dad, Eric Reichert, my mom, Tina Reichert, and my longtime girlfriend, Cecilia.
Eric's parents both graduated from, Logan's parents graduated from Goshen as well.
Jake Williams, come on. All right, I always get where Jake comes to us from. It's Greenview, right?
Greenview.
Okay, I got it stuck in my head now. So Jake is going to be teaching 6th grade language arts. He comes to us with about 17 years teaching experience. With replenishing all of our staffing, we felt like he would be a very good addition at the middle school. We're super excited to have him. But he was teaching.
No, my wife had to get the oldest to sports, and if I'd have brought the 4-year-old, they would have changed the ceiling. So
Ms. Walker, Goshen High School.
Yes,
click,
ma'am.
click, or me click.
You can click.
All right.
You may have to click because a couple of our kids are still out at open house, and I sent my assistant principal searching for them. So we may have to.
We can be flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I have Colin Kozlowski coming on up here. So Colin, we wound up interviewing quite a while. It actually was not at the very, very end of the year, but we knew that we had him for quite some time. He is relatively new in the education world. You had a 1 year, am I correct? And you don't know this, but I posted a picture of you, maybe you know that, out in social media when I hired you, and your kids from your previous school district started commenting on it. And it was all great things. I wouldn't have told you the opposite out in front of everybody here, but this is true story. And I'm a believer that you know the true character, relationship building, when you have kids that say great things about educators. So that's my surprise to you. Good. He is teaching math for us here, and I'm super excited. He has a lot of energy, and I think he's going to be a really good fit. He met his first student Friday, and I loved the interaction that I saw. So I think it's going to be a fantastic fit for us here. So I'm so glad to have you here. Yeah. Okay, next up, Colin. Colin, you didn't. Colin, do you have anybody here?
Nope, just me.
Nope, just you. Okay, next up is Carly Mills, and Carly is a Spanish teacher for us here at the high school, and is actually going to be at the middle school for a short period of time during the school day also. I've challenged her, and we've had a couple conversations about this, is that my hope is that Carly's going to come in here and really boost up our numbers. Young, I say that because I'm old now. So young, energetic, lovely, and I think kids are absolutely going to adore you. She's excited about the language. She's talking a lot about cultural types of activities and things beyond just can you speak the language, but can you love the language and culture also. So I am extremely excited to have her here, and I expect big numbers in the years to come in the Spanish world. So super glad to have you here. Yeah. Okay, Rashana is not here just yet. I think Randy was going to get her.
I think she needs oxygen.
I know, I saw her
Really
again, like,
ran.
Chelsea Partouche, come on up. is kind of an interesting story too, because you have taught and then took a break for a while. She was having the most important role in the world, which is being a parent, and spend some time doing that. I think she's excited and really wanting to come back into a school setting. I happen to adore her. She has this very caring way about you. You have this really neat vibe that I think our kids certainly are going to love and appreciate. And she's got that mom thing about her too that our kids also need. Chelsea is going to be a math teacher here in the high school, and she's also jumping into the AP world too, which is a little bit of a change for you, I think. And she basically took it and said, "Let's go. I want to do this." She is expressed that she would like to be our freshman class advisor. So that's something I'm going to come back with you, sharing with another one of our new teachers as well. So super, super excited about that. And I think that's such a clever way to get to know students. But I'm so excited to have Chelsea here. You're welcome. Is Rashana coming?
I lost her on my way to get Carly.
Oh.
How can you just let that pass right by?
Well, when we always kind of Facebook stalk and Google search people, and that came up about you. And I don't know if you know this yet, but we have a couple big time ultimate Frisbee people here in the building. And if you haven't met them yet, we're going to do that tomorrow because you're going to have some new best friends. So it's super cool, super cool. Can we just pause? I mean, you do what you need to do, and when they come in, we'll.
Sure, I think I'll do a song and dance.
Okay, please do.
Waiting. It's been a busy hiring season, but as you can see, I think we've hired some really good people from 0 years of experience to 17 years of experience. Luckily, we kind of go for the best. It doesn't matter if they've never taught before or if they've taught for a long time. We want to get the best we can here. I don't know if you saw, Carly was a OU grad, and I think she spent time there getting her master's degree as well. So we have some OU grads at our table here too. I know that they're Bobcats coming through, so wrong kind of cap, but that's okay.
We don't hold it against you.
That's right.
I do have to say, I mean, as we go through the years with interviewing and selecting staff, it's, you hear a little bit about coming back to Goshen or know somebody from Goshen. It's nice to know that, people are attracted to hear whatever the draw is. But we do make sure that interview process and selecting the right people work. So all of you that were put into positions here, it's for a lot of reasons. But we know that you're going to be great, and we're going to support the heck out of you to make sure you're great. So, Steph, I know that you guys have open house and everything.
I know.
Fine.
So we're
Probably
good.
better this
Okay.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
they met
Okay.
the-
I'm
did
sorry.
the introduction.
I thought you really got caught up.
Probably better to be with kids.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're with
Yeah.
the important part. That's fine.
I'm just going to take a quick moment to say thanks to all of you for your dedication to the children of our community and our school district. We are all parents.
Not two.
Pause.
That's such a good.
Sorry. 550, they have been.
It's good. It's good. Okay. So this is Rashana, and Rashana just got her exercise. So Rashana is teaching English for us this year, and I am super excited to have you here. She's got how many years experience?
11 in content, like 13 on.
Okay, so she comes with a background that's extremely strong. She comes from Georgia, and she has just spent her time moving here over the summertime, and that's a big transition. Rashana, the thing that I adore about Rashana, that cat picture out there is fantastic. I asked her for a photo exactly to share with my staff, and there's spunk in that. And it definitely was a conversation piece, and I know that everybody enjoyed that. When I interviewed her, it was over a Google Meet, and within when you interview a lot of people, you know pretty quickly. And the level of enthusiasm that came out of her, and she clicked with our team really, really fast. So
I think Stephanie texted me and I got on the Google Meet right there.
I did.
Okay, I've got it.
Good interview. I'm like, help, come, we want her. We don't want to let her go. She is another that has agreed that would like to go ahead and freshman class advisor. And again, I'm super excited about that. There's going to be great things that are coming out of the ELA department. So I'm so super excited to have Roshana here with us. Sit for a second. They're gonna talk right into you in a second.
That's
Becky.
3 in the morning.
That's 3 in the morning. Becky Landon is our new hire. She is a Oaks employee that works here at Goshen High School. And I've had the great pleasure of working with Becky in a previous school district. She runs a business program. And the thing that is great about Becky is that she can connect with kids and get them really jazzed up about the world of business. She has had many, many highly competitive BPA, Business Professionals of America, groups and years and years and years of this, where students have gone and they have competed at high levels and have won. And honestly, we have a teacher here, Amy Schmidt-Bauer, who, when I sent out the message that I hire you, Brian, when I sent that out, she was so excited and was screaming in the hallways because you were a huge mentor and a part of her life. So again, when teachers talk and so forth, that's a good thing. So again, my goal, my dream for this program is that we're finding kids that are super interested in the business pathway. And so that we're able to hook them with Becky from the beginning, and we're going to put together apprenticeships and opportunities for them to go out and be successful in the world, whether it's directly into the workforce or if it's into the college realm. That is the magic that she does. So I'm super excited to have Becky here along with the rest of my staff, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing year. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes. I genuinely want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. As a board, we either have children in the district or had children and have graduated from this district. We stay here because we love the place. And I truly believe the difference in living in Goshen and being here is that we're one big family. So if there's anything that you guys need, make sure that you reach out. This first year as you're here is really exciting, and just thank you for all the time, effort, energy you'll invest in our children.
And I know you want to go home now. So please grab a snack on your way out because we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Mark, look at that tech update.
Sorry, Mark.
Oh.
Sorry, Mark.
Don't worry about it. That would have been your second time.
Did you hit the court yet?
It's been a day, hasn't it?
Wednesday.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
And you go up.
That's true.
Give yourself time. You don't have to be the district champs.
Yeah, not this year.
Give yourself a year.
Actually, I think I need it.
Thank you.
I went to get Carly and I thought you'd behind me. We invite the rest of you to come forward. All right, so.
Thanks, Roshana.
Sorry about that. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Mark Slagle to share an update on technology and communication.
Great, thank you very much. I know nearly all of you, but I'll do my intro anyway. My name is Mark Slagle. I'm starting my 21st year as the Director of Technology here at Goshen School District. In those 21 years, one thing has been true always. This district's #1 priority is the safety of our students, their families, our staff, and anybody else who sets foot on this campus. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the steps we've taken last year and now this year with how we're using technology to improve our safety policies and processes at Goshen Schools. So I guess they say you make your own luck a lot of the times, and the brakes kind of went our way a couple years ago we were in bad need of a new phone system. It was very, very aging. We also were finding that every time we tried to repair one of our speakers in the ceilings, our intercoms, it was costing an absurd amount of money for even a very small change. It's like when you have a classic car and it's a small part, but you can't find it anymore. And if you do find a repair person for it, they're going to be very expensive, right? They were basically working on classic cars up in our ceilings. And around that time, the government launched a huge safety grant. And we said, these things can all work together, right? Because clearly communication and safety, they have to go together. We just had to find the best platform to bring all these things together. And we did. We won a $400,000 grant. And we used a large portion of that to fund a new initiative where in 2023, we installed a new phone system and we installed all new speakers in every classroom and every academic space, even outside of our school buildings, everywhere. Then we integrated with all that a platform called InformaCast. And what InformaCast lets us do is very systematically program. If this thing happens, then these people need to be communicated with. And this message needs to go out of those speakers. And these members of law enforcement need to know. These people in the district need to know. And then everybody gets on board and we respond. Now, obviously, it's our hope that we never need to use these incredibly powerful tools. But if we do need to use them, we have them. They are in place. So that was last year, and it became kind of a two-phase rollout, where last year we got through all the hardware, we got through the majority of the really high-level safety needs, so we knew we were ready to respond if something bad did happen. And of course, we got the little things in, like bell systems and how to make an intercom announcement and all that stuff. And now this year, we find ourselves in an exciting second phase of this process, where if phase one was InformaCast, the platform, phase two is Visitor Await, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a visitor identification verification system. And what it allows us to do is know for sure who's coming into our buildings, why they're there, which kids they're authorized to pick up, and then how long they're in our buildings, et cetera. So now I'm gonna do the dumbest thing a technology person can do in front of a group of people and do a live demonstration of this stuff. So here we go.
Wait, in our building here?
Sorry. Oh, no, I'm not going to do everything else.
Oh, okay.
How's the alarm?
I was like, what is
Visitor
it?
aware part.
Okay.
Goshen High School, good. So one of the major new initiatives this year is that when you come into one of our school buildings, you're going to find an iPad like this one on a stand. At the start of the year, they'll be inside of the office area so that we can ease people into this process. But once the message is out there and everybody understands that for our safety, we are going to be having these in our vestibules, and you will walk in and check in and use this to communicate to the front office who you are and who you're there to see before they ever let you through the door. So I'm going to show you how it works on this iPad and obviously answer any questions that you guys have. Is there anywhere you can all see? Anyway, we'll wake it up. The VisitorWare app is running on it right now. We have two buttons. One says visitors and the other says students. The difference is a visitor is here to do something other than pick up a student, like they're going to volunteer, right? Or they're just here to have a meeting with the principal, etc. Anybody can check in with the visitors app or the visitors section. We'll do students because it's a more interesting demonstration for our purposes here. That is what you do if you're showing up to take your child out of school. I have this logged in at the high school because I have two kids in high school, so it'll be much easier to demonstrate. I'll do students, and I will say that I'm here to depart with a student. It says, take my picture. I do it, and it says, do I want Roland Slagle or Vivian Slagle? What happened is, it took my picture, and because I had already submitted my information to the system, it said, I know who you are because in my Final Forms profile, for each of my kids, I told it who was allowed to pick up my students. Me, my wife, my father, my mother, her parents, etc. Anybody who's going to pick up your kids, they're all in Final Forms and they're already verified automatically by our parents as allowed to pick up our students. Final Forms talks to Progress Book and sends that information over, and then this service talks to Progress Book. And so what it really did was, it took my picture and it compared it to information that it already had, and then it said, I know who you are, I know who your kids are, you are allowed to pick up these two students. The very first time you check in on one of these, you have two options. You can either, it just bounced back, so we'll do that again. It timed out. If I had never checked in before, the first thing it would ask me is for my photo. And the second thing it would ask me is, do I want to scan my license front and back? Because then it's gathering where I live, my date of birth, and I think my gender. And it ties those things to information that's in Progress Book so that it knows which students I'm allowed to pick up. If you don't want to scan your license, if you object to that, you can enter your personal information by hand each time you come in. It'll go through the same process. It just will not do the photo identification part. So if you don't wish to do that, you can every single time say, I'm Mark and I live at 5733 Cleat Hill, blah, blah, blah. And then it will make that connection for you and tell our front office who you are. So I'm going to do it again. Students, I'm going to depart with a kid. I'll take both my kids. And then it asks me for the reason. Say testing. And I say sign out. And it says, cool. But you heard that ding? It also just told the person working the attendance desk, who might be in some other window, hey, someone just showed up to check out a kid. They hear that doorbell sound and they say, oh, okay. And they hop over here and they look. Here's an amazing photo I just took of myself with the selfie camera. Me, the guardian, my two children who I came to pick up, the reason that we're doing so, and then what time I asked for those kids. Now at this point, you know exactly who they are and you say, okay, come on in. We buzz them through the door. We call their kids down from class. They get together. They go. Later, when I return with my students, to say we just had an orthodontist appointment or something, I can come back in and I can say, hey, I am returning with a student. And it says, who are you? Just take a picture. Sign them both in. They're signed out here. They're off the list up there. So we're able to track throughout the day who left and who came back. I can tell you from all the years I've been here that we, as recently as last year, have secretaries who are taking this on hand every time someone comes down. And they have to spend some amount of time at the end of the day inside of our student information system saying that your kid left at 12:22 and he came back at 1:34. Because we have to track down to the minute how often our students are missing class. And this takes all that workload off of them and just says, here, when you're ready, get in, shoot it up to your student information system, and that's a done process. I don't think we've ever been better equipped to be certain who's coming into our buildings and why, and are they allowed to be there. Any questions?
I just think a major part as we looked at this, we've got incredible secretarial staff. They know a lot of our families, but they're, with us growing and new families coming in, the ability for them to know everybody and who's supposed to go with who and putting that responsibility and onus on them each time gets a little daunting. So to be able to have technology that goes into this grant piece and be able to layer this in to make sure, that we're protecting kids, but also, making sure that our staff can be as up on it as possible when we're talking about some of these kids. So it's a nice layer, and that it is attractive from that standpoint as well.
And there are children in our district, right, who simply just can't go with people.
Correct.
For legal
There is
reasons.
also this background, and that will give us if there's any of that information as well.
It does, it knows that, and it checks it. Yeah. Custodial issues there, yeah.
Yep.
Any questions for you guys?
What, I mean.
Yep.
I know, it's amazing that, you have two parents and two children and what does it do if it's a person who's not supposed to, and the secretary shouldn't have to deal with that person, does it?
Well, I mean, from that side, you're going to be aware, and the principals will, and the principals will deal with it.
Oh, just, no, okay.
Oh, the system, it does
Yes.
know. Do you want me to show?
Well, and does it
Okay.
say, contact somebody else maybe?
Here's what happens. The person who's working the desk, they get a big red screen up that says,
Okay.
hey, this person who's not authorized to be here just tried to get in.
Okay,
And then it alerts anybody whose job that is. On the side of the user who's doing it, it just says error, ask the secretary.
Oh.
And it doesn't give any indication of why the error happened.
got it.
You just set that up just to chime in here, just for that demonstration.
No, you can set up based on who the logged in user is and what their job is, if it should chime or if it should not chime. So in the event that you're Angie Lynch, who's the high school attendance secretary, you probably do want that chime anytime somebody basically rings your doorbell by trying to log in as a visitor. And it'll say, hey, Angie, someone's here, and she'll look up and go check and see who that is.
I think my biggest thing as we talked through this was just the customer service piece. We don't want parents not coming in the building. So that's where we're going to start with this in the offices so that we can ease people into it, because we've had a process. This upgrades it, and then it'll eventually move out. I just want to make sure parents, I want to make sure our staff, secretarial staff are comfortable with it. But it'll be introduced, and we'll make sure that we're helping people through this process for about the first month before we put it out in the atrium. So we'll get people, and there'll be, like any technology, there'll be glitches we have to work through. And what ifs and whatnot. So
First 2 weeks will be interesting. They always are.
Can you add, like, say if someone wanted to pick up a friend's kid, do they have to be, how does that work? How does that process?
Generally, every student has a couple people who are their guardians who are authorized to get into their Final Forms account.
Okay.
And so if I wanted you to be authorized to pick up my students, I on Tuesday would get into Final Forms, and I would go to my transportation sheet and I'd say, Corey West is allowed, here's who he is. The next time you showed up, it would say, I know Corey West. Mark said he's allowed to get his kids. That relationship would be built in, and then it would show them as authorized for you.
I really like this. Every safety workshop or anything that I've been to for the board absolutely requires identification for pickup. And, I love that every single one of our schools has that built-in space between the outside door and the inside door for many reasons that, we've unfortunately seen across the nation in the last several years. So I love that safety is first in our district.
And can we have multiple iPads? I'm thinking for like,
Homecoming.
homecoming.
that's one of those glitches.
Yeah.
Front office ladies.
Yeah, the middle school, I don't know. Like, can they have, like, is there maybe 5 for like,
Family picnic at Spalding.
Are you thinking like an event? I think
Yeah.
for an event, we have a plan. Like,
Yeah.
if there's an event where a bunch of parents are coming in, I think we have some kind of
If handled right.
okay.
Not have a bottleneck.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Because they're not really leading the students. They're just.
Just on the visitor thing, so my older kids went to a different school. So when you were a visitor and you came in, it actually did your license and it showed a picture and it said exactly where you were supposed to be.
Yes.
Does it do that?
It does. We didn't go through that part because we're not typically printing off a badge for somebody who's just taking a kid and leaving.
Right.
But if you're there to
Like if you're there to volunteer, like
Absolutely.
they have to be in.
Yep. You show in, you check in, it asks you why you're here. And then as soon as you get verified to come in, a label automatically prints out on the office secretary's desk. And so you walk in, she says, hi, welcome to Goshen Middle School. And she hands you your sticker and you slap it on. Has your photo, what time you checked in, and why you're supposed to be there.
A lot of layers to it, but it is.
Great.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks, Mark.
Update.
Can you click us back over?
Presentation.
Agenda item 9, new business. A, public participation. Mrs. Scherzinger, do we have anyone signed up for public participation?
There was not.
You got policy, you got all business.
Oh, just kidding, sorry. Got ahead of myself. Yes, old business. So, agenda item 8, old business. A, policy committee update. Mrs. Scherzinger,
Thank
can you please
you.
give us a policy
This
committee
is a
update?
busy night for me. Mr. West and I attended the first meeting. Mrs. Warnke was out of town, so we had like a separate meeting. But our first policy meeting was held on Friday, August 2nd. And the committee got together. We walked through 4 policies for discussion. And the first one was the cell phone policy. And we talked about how we had already done kind of the legwork for this policy because it was something that we had to implement for this school year. So we talked through a little bit of the cell phone policy and decided that we would like to move forward for approval. So you'll see that later in the agenda. And I believe there's a copy of, you have a copy of this within the folder. But basically, when you look at a policy, there are a couple different options you have. And we went with the green option, which basically says that students will be limited on cell phone use instead of completely banning them, which was the later language. We don't think we're quite there yet. So later in the meeting, you're gonna see a waiving of the first reading of that, and then hopefully the approval of the cell phone policy. And then the other two in the middle, we had a cybersecurity policy, and we had AI. Cybersecurity and AI both, we feel like we're okay with moving to, cybersecurity and graduation, the cybersecurity policy, honestly, as we dug into that, we realized we have some work to do, but we feel confident that we're gonna add those next layers of protection. A lot of it, Mark and his department were already working on, but there were a few things in that cybersecurity that brought some ideas to light that we really kind of need to move forward with. And so that basically says is that we'll have a two-factor authentication when you're getting into some of our secure sites. We have a lot of this already in place. Number 6 and 7 are the two that we really needed to do some more work on, and we're working on a plan for that now. And those are approval of software and applications fee or paid used by the district staff, and then incident response plans detailing how to respond in a cyber attack. Actually, that one he's pretty good on. Mark went to a training, actually Mark and Brian went to a cybersecurity training this summer, and I'm pretty sure if I would have been sitting there, I would have been like listening to someone speak a foreign language, because the stuff he talks about with cybersecurity.
I went to one of 5. It stopped after 1. So
It is.
I knew Mark had it and we were good, but it was over my head.
It's way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. So anyway, we feel like, do you guys not have this?
No, it's in your packet. It was in your board packet. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the cybersecurity. I could tell when it looks on your face. Okay, sorry about that. And then the other one was graduation. And the graduation graduation policy basically changes the name from Ohio Department of Education to Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. All of the extra language in here is something that already matches our current policy. With the exception of it's adding a line that says students entering 9th grade for the first time on or after July 1st, 2022 can apply credit earned in advanced placement microeconomics or macroeconomics to satisfy the financial literacy requirement, which we don't have either of those classes yet. But we still like to go ahead and move forward with that language in case we ever do add them to our AP offerings. And honestly, it makes sense that if you're going to take an AP course, it would count for financial literacy.
So it's really not changing any of our grad requirements, just language. And if we ever added micro or macro, you could satisfy that financial literacy requirement that we already have inside the business track. It's where our kids get to.
So those two we'd like to move for the first reading. Artificial intelligence was something that I think we wanted to table because we need to study it a little bit more. And a lot of this is because the language in this policy was kind of minimizing the use of AI in a lot of ways. And we feel like it's a tool we just introduced to our staff in April, and we were like, try these different things, it's gonna be amazing. And now this would really limit some of that. So we really wanna do some studying to see, and we also wanna talk with our staff about the language. Obviously, we don't want students using AI and claiming it as their own work, but that would also follow on, like under the policies that talk about cheating, right? So that, and teachers go over that with their students to say, this is, if you copy from a book, if you copy from AI, if you copy from a website, word for word, that's not your own work. So they have those conversations anyway. We just want to do a little bit more studying with artificial intelligence on the staff side before we move forward with that policy.
I think in talking to legal counsel, there's nothing inside of artificial intelligence that we're not legally covered for. I think building kind of a database of what AI we're using, especially the generative stuff and what's appropriate and not, is what this policy called for some of. And we're not ready to just jump and say, can use that, can't use it, because it changes every day.
Right.
So the networking piece of this, of working with our staff to make sure we're looking at, it's like 8 numbers in this that we were probably comfortable with 2 of them. And the other 6, it's like, whoa, that just is basically stopping the use of AI, which really for our staff, I mean, we're preaching it from, use it to make life a little easier. you know, on some of these things that we're just not ready to jump in. But we're covered from a legal standpoint, especially in that cybersecurity piece. That'll be a first reading. And then we just have to build on, you know, our knowledge in order to say, here's a policy that I can hand you guys to say go with, because I'm not comfortable recommending that right now in the state that it's in. Not only was I not comfortable, the technology director that was in the room was not comfortable, and, you know, we have no teacher input on that. So I
talked to friends in a couple other districts, and they were saying that they were creating a committee to examine this kind of almost throughout the whole school year. They were also kind of putting the brakes on a little bit too. They felt like it was very specific and so. Did I forget anything? Anything?
Just the review of the OSBA's review and start of the review. We've got meetings
There it
set
is.
up.
That's the next one.
Oh, sorry.
You're
I do
good.
have a
You're
question
good.
about
Oh,
the
that's right.
AI though. Do we subscribe to a service that our staff uses, or there's different ones out there?
Yes, we do have a few, like, the high school is gonna use Brisk AI next school year, and that was something that Mark and I vetted. And they have a webinar tomorrow to learn how to use it, and, there's all different types of tools that they're gonna use that for. A lot of our process, we have to clean up a little bit. Cause you know, we've always been like, go out and try this. This is a really great tool and we don't wanna limit it. However, Mark and I have been working on a way to have these things vetted for teachers and especially for purchasing. Because most of the time now they would just say to me, I really want to use this. And then I would go out and I would research it and I would sit down with a consultant and I would check it out. And we want to use our technology chairs a little bit more in that aspect of like digging through and finding out if these tools are really good or not.
So that's the only one. High school's the only one.
Well, everyone's using a little bit of something. The only one we've
Okay.
actually purchased
Is
to
Brisk.
use is Brisk.
Okay.
There's a new policy format that we're using too, the checklist, and that the board will review for each like policy. They'll submit it with the policy and it'll be a checklist that we can look at too, so.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think I realized how much, you know, even just that AI or the cybersecurity, going through each line of it to say, until I started doing policy this last school year, you know, you get these policies and then, are we ready to do this? And had to look line by line. And Mark had a huge document that said, yes, yes, no, I have to do this, I have to do this. So, and that is for each policy.
We do something similar at work, and it really allows you to be able to identify where there's gaps and where you need to do more work. We're obviously, you know, at a higher ed institution, always like database. So like providing that data that goes along with it, you realize, oh, let's go back and look at this or that. So I love that you guys are implementing something like that. Yeah,
Great.
it really makes sense.
And then what Corey was talking about is we are going through that OSBA policy rewrite. And so this is the list of the first draft is due to us by October 16th. And then that committee's going to be getting to work. And if you see the list of dates and times, it's going to take a little bit of work. What I did ask for him to do was consider breaking it out by section. And then we would talk with those of you who were on that area. So an example would be all the fiscal policies. Maybe if you're on the fiscal committee, you attend that meeting because that's going to be your area of expertise and that's going to be the policies that would really pertain to you. And then if we get to the curriculum section, if you're on the curriculum committee, maybe you'll attend those meetings with us. So our OSBA rep, Gammy, and I are working on kind of breaking out what those sections might look like, and I'll send that to you as soon as I get it.
Nice, it's a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
It's gonna be fun.
I'm gonna find your definition.
We do have pagers still in
You
our
do, yeah.
policies.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So you, like, last night, you would
Pagers will come
know
back.
kind of on
It's
December
on after
6th,
tonight.
it's gonna be the financial section.
Yeah, I'm hoping by the end of this week, I would know kind of fleshed out and then be able to send that out to you.
Okay, yeah, that's only fair to let us join the fun.
Join the fun.
I think it'll be at online meetings too, I think, right?
I think because it isn't open meetings, we have to follow those rules,
Most
and I
have to be
think
in attendance.
most have to be in attendance physically. So we got to make sure we pay attention to that. But and I'm making sure I post the agenda and then the meeting minutes afterwards as well.
So is it similar to our board? Like if you're online and not in attendance, you can't vote?
Yeah, but there's no votes out of policy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. So Ms. Warrenke, Mr. West, anything to add?
No, that's perfect. For my,
And then later on, we'll vote and.
Yeah.
Do the first reading.
Are those all Fridays or? Yeah, okay.
Fridays.
Like
Friday
the
fun day.
show.
Friday fun day, that's right.
Want to call it. Okay, now, moving on, new business. Item A, Mrs. Scherzinger, do we have any public participation?
No, we do not.
Okay,
You want to click on this?
all right, so
Okay,
moving
click.
on, new business.
You
Item
click.
B,
Click. Go on.
treasurer's report.
All right,
Mr.
well, I am doing my first attempt here at a new thing, new format, just to try to make sure everyone feels comfortable with, what we're reporting here. So this is basically our fund balance. So on this slide, most of this is tying into our 5-year forecast. We always use that forecast, you guys approve that each month. That's kind of the guardrails on where we're at when we really focus on general fund. On this right here, this is operating fund, which is general fund, our fiscal year to date. We started the year off with the $15 million. We brought in $6.6 million last month. Our expenditures were 2.5 million, and we went up to 19. So huge jump here, but this again is just the month of July. So if you remember our cycles, we have real estate taxes that happen in February and August settlement. So we got August settlement, that big portion of that. Then our income tax comes in quarterly. So our April, May, June came in July, and it was a bigger number. So when you look at that, and then on our fiscal year to date expenditures for July, we're not really running buses or all of our aides, everyone's off. So our expenditures are down. So this one really skews things a little bit.
This is 1 month.
And this is 1 month, and hopefully this will, keep us in line to the beginning balance where we tracked. So we can go to the next one. So on here, as a percentage, the district, we got in that $6.6 million out of a budget at 39 million. And that means we got $32 million remaining. So we got almost 1/5 of our budget there. But again, that was a big one because really the income tax is a bigger one there because of the April filing deadline. So that's basically where we got there. And then budget month completed, that'll just go, it's 1 divided by 12 is 8.33. So that'll be that number there as we go each month. So just remember the rest of this is month to date and fiscal year to date actually are the same because we just got 1 month of data on here.
Yeah.
So that's it on our revenue. And then on the expenditure side, you can see the 2.5 million annually out of our 38 million, the amount budgeted expenditures remaining, we have 35 million. So we spent about 6.71%, which again, that's down because we don't have the big major expenditures. And then our budget month is 12, so 8.33 is completed on that right there. So that's on our annual budget.
So when Todd says July, we have no support staff day. You've got a lot of pieces that are missing from your biggest part of your budget, which is people.
And we cut down on, we turn our heat, our heating and air, energy.
Yep. We're not running buses, we're not buying gas.
Right, so always over the summer,
Yep.
our expenditures are less.
Yeah.
Here in September, we're gonna see
Yes, you're gonna
what's
see it.
a normal.
Well, you kind of got the ups and downs of the revenue stream coming in, so you got a low expenditure, and then that's probably our biggest month of revenue because we get the advances, especially since this on the new revow. It really shoots that number quite a bit. So expenditure year to date, year over year. So if you look at last year, our total expenditures was 2.8 million for FY23, and this year was 2.56. So it's down 237,000 compared to last year's number. And then over here, where we had some of our changes is like our salaries and benefits were a lot less this year. But if you think back last year, we had quite a few retirees that went through, Mrs. Edwards, Mr. Edwards, a couple of people. So those, when they get their, their payoff on the sick leave and stuff. So that's what kind of shit. Purchase services, that was just, I'm sure, a timing issue on our utility bill or one of those. And that's what really caused the big difference there. I mean, again, 237,000 out of about, 2.8 million, it's not, not a real big jump or change there. Pretty consistent. And then, did that thing change?
Did that change?
The exact same.
Feels like it's the same. We might have two slides.
Well, one's month to date, one's year to date.
Oh, there you go.
I mean,
Yeah. It's not gonna change because you're.
July.
Same.
July.
Yeah, so here we are, month to date,
Yeah.
year over year, it's exactly the same, so we can go to that next, but I'll show, that'll change as we cruise along. And then, this one here is our budgeted for June 30th compared to prior year. So right now, the 15,173, that is the number that we ended the year with. And then our current budgeted year-end fund balance, this right here is projecting out. So the current budget shows that for the fiscal year 24, revenue exceeds expenditures in the district's fund balance, but will increase 753,000. So on our 5-year forecast, that's where we're saying we're going to be 753,000 to good. The June 30th, 24 balance represents approximately 152 days on cash. So I think that's the thing when you see how much money we do have in there, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of money, but it's 152 days. So if you guys got rid of me and I had to go 5 months without a paycheck, I'd be like, oh, okay, this is a little bit rough. And that would be the same thing there if something happened. But that's where we're at on the cash. It's 152 days on the general fund. Sorry, get that next one.
I did. That's just the actual projected monthly trend with the same piece.
Oh.
Went from 15 to.
Yeah, sorry. So right here, I'm sorry, on the cash flow statement, the budgeted amount 1596. So it's saying the budget for 24 was expected to be 15.926. The current trend estimates a favorable variance 834,000. So that's saying, all right, Schenkel, you put this in here for our estimated 5-year forecast. The system itself is saying based on the amount of money that we got in July, we're going to be higher. Now, I'd like to say that is the case, but you don't know. It's just trending that way because we got a bigger real estate income tax.
And I think when you look at that, anything going back, we've done things the right way, financially responsible. We're not in the hole. So, you look at that and it's, we're making the right decisions. Go back to last January, we had no idea about income, the
Right.
property tax piece. And there's still stuff up at the state level with that property tax that they're talking reform. What happened? Don't know. But that's where Todd says, a little bit of that number is still, and we're still waiting on the biennial budget for just the fair school funding piece. So there's still some unknowns, but we're not projecting that we're overspending, a little bit under at this point.
So can I ask a few questions real quick?
Yeah, I'm not answering anymore.
Questions, just so, what I'm seeing here is we're really setting ourselves up for success either way, right? Say the state comes out and they're not going to give us as much money, we're in a pretty good place. Say the state comes out and we're still going to move in the right direction, we actually could put that to some facility improvement and some different things that the board agrees upon and that we feel that the growing school district needs. Is that kind of the direction we're moving in?
Yeah.
Like once we figure out the state support?
Yeah, I mean, if this trend continues on, like it is, and we get that, I mean, that will definitely be getting everyone together and what you guys are happy with or what we want to do. Because, I think our curriculum and our technology, we've rotated that around a lot. We did a lot of facilities this year, so we've kind of covered those expenses for a little bit. So if there is an issue of something like you said, possibly addressing space, we could definitely take a look at, all right, do we want to spend some general fund dollars in that capacity? Which,
I think that's a long process to
Right.
get to.
I know we
Right.
talked a
Yeah.
little bit about this at the retreat and, continuing to monitor this. So,
Right where we're at, where we feel comfortable enough. to
Right.
use.
Yeah.
But you definitely don't want to put yourself, too
No.
far, but financing something out where then you go, uh-oh, and we're struggling with operating. So
No.
that's
No.
the danger of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there something we could pick off that's small that we're comfortable with? I think it's something obviously we can look at, whether it be a modular, or it might be an addition we can afford in one of the most crunched spaces of the district. But I think really a master facilities planning process that I'll kind of talk about. Probably my goals
Yeah.
as we enter next year is a piece of it, but we'll continue to monitor.
So our HVAC controls worked on this summer, right? That helps with some of our energy savings. We're also.
Well, how about this?
There we go. Well, we did get our, right on cue there, Bill. So we just recently, we submitted, and we got our Energy Star certification again for this year, which it's a national thing that, I mean, because you see it everywhere, but it really is national. And they compare our buildings to efficiencies of other buildings across the country. And, we were fortunate enough to get that in the high school, middle school, and Mar Elementary, or Mar Cook. But Spalding, unfortunately, is the only building that did not reach this level. And it's up in there, it's tied in to the modulars. And those things sucked energy and are really not energy efficient. And our percentage that you needed to be at is at 75%. We were just under that to get that. So we're actually getting our bills together, and actually got a couple together today because we just got ours. So we're hoping to get it resubmitted so we could get it all district wide again, like we did before. So we're kind of, I mean, it's still exciting that we got it, but we really did want to, we're hoping that we can do Spalding and update the plaques and all the buildings that are, out there. So that was pretty exciting.
Has all the work been completed? HVAC?
It was like a 3-year phase in,
Okay.
because it was a pretty major expenditure to do. So I'm assuming they're a third done.
Yeah, I mean, of course, kind of, they've got their every building to an extent, but now you've got to go over and start the changeover process.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I mean, a lot of these changes are what Mark was talking about as far as the technology and like just the speakers and phones and that sort of thing. It's the technology of the computers went out to the parts that make a damper open, or a fan kick on and that sort of thing, that those pieces were what is really getting outdated. So that was a lot of the technology, working on that. I mean, again, when you're talking a high school fan that blows air, I mean, you can walk through it. So it's not like when it tells it to go, it's not a little device. I mean, it's like a big, to get it going. So it's been pretty cool.
I was wondering, so walked into the gym in Spalding the other day and got to think about this. It's like if there's going to be a program in the Spalding gym, that's something they can adjust the controls, say, okay, we're going to fill this full of a bunch of kids. Let's cool the gym down a bit.
I just did it for this room tonight. Once I saw those bodies, yes.
Yeah.
I asked for it.
Okay, good. I mean, because I think that would help. It doesn't need to be.
I mean, you don't want to run that cycle.
but
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
don't want to
have-
run that cycle 24/7,
Yeah.
but you can stage it for an event. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Similar to how
really,
we do over the summers and breaks, right?
yeah, really on the summer, what we
here.
normally do in the summer is we do Spalding first. We send the Alpha Mega sends a cleaning crew back to Spalding, cleans it, and we shut it down. I mean, it's like it's off pretty much the radar, you know what I mean, as far as like keeping the temperature there at our set points. And that's how we kind of rotate them along on that. And to answer your question, Bill, I mean, like, I know Chuck Smith, like at kindergarten graduation and some events like that, he'll sit there and watch it because you don't really know the crowd. And if you get a lot of people in, it'll raise it quick and it'll up the air. He can all do that right from his house. So it's.
You can ask my family. I'm pretty much I'm on that thermostat. Come over, cool it down a little bit. Yeah, my kids can sweat it out if we don't have visitors.
I do think about, like, when we look at these bills and stuff each month, think about, like, compared to your home, right? Like, a revamp and a system in your home is such a big project. Then you think about it in a school building, right? In a district, like, what our energy bill is every month is, I think some people can't even fathom that
Well,
kind
and
of
that's
bill.
part of this change too, is we'll get our energy dashboard back. It's actually back where it's reading it. We can look at it daily and say, something's not right at Spalding. What was it? So we're kind of able to monitor that.
Yeah, we actually, the example I use that we had one time is one of the smaller bills it was just so high, and or on our meter, it was kicking off, and we went and really what happened, we found out that it was the sensor on the lights around the tennis court just was not working. So the lights were on all the time out there instead of shutting down. And we found it before we got the bill and said, man, why did we go up like $4,000 or $5,000? It was, you caught it earlier, because you get the automated logic and the charts. And that's one thing that we're going to be getting with this is a new integrated system so we can check the bills as we're going. It'll be live. So.
Because I would think that Spalding, since it's newer and one level, would be really good on energy, and it's like amazing that those modulars suck it down. So it's the worst of the schools. Like that's amazing.
Well, I mean, you just gotta remember, those things are on like your home thermostat. We can't control them like we can control the rest of this building. So you're gonna set it for 72 degrees and it's gonna run at 72 degrees. It's not gonna hit set points at night to go to, unoccupied. It's just gonna run. You really can't tie that into your internal system, so.
I guess that's something
At least
to consider.
You can't now. I don't know if you can in the future. When they were
Right.
put in, it was not wired to tie into that building.
I'll find a way. I'm on a mission.
I don't know what your next one was.
Oh, I threw that on there.
Hey, look at you.
What'd you think? I even got them on there. So, and I know you guys were questioning about a couple things and in regards to reporting, and I wanted to just reach out to, because the state of Ohio, they have a Ohio checkbook, and one of you, I know you guys asked about it, so I mean, it just made me just think I can call up there and see what all is needed, and they helped us get a link. I don't think that'll work on there, but anyway, if you go now to the treasurer's page, they let us submit our last 5 years of data, and we send it up to them, and now you can go up there and drop down, you click on school district, and our school's on there now. So just
That's
kind of an FYI.
Yeah, we're still tweaking it with them.
We're learning.
Yeah, we're learning it. So informing you guys that it'll be live on the treasurer's webpage soon. But Todd's done all the back end work with the auditor's office to get it on Ohio checkbook. But we're still working on the background. It's a robust, if you've ever looked at it, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of schools and cities and villages. I mean, they got everyone, and the governmental agency for the most part has you can get on there on that. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I hope that, really answers questions. I mean, and I'm happy to give you guys, I hope you all know anything you want to see. So just let me know, and we can get that updated, or if it's too much, not enough, or what, you know what I mean? Just let me know.
So super informative. Thank you and your staff for all the work you do.
They're amazing.
Any questions? All right, moving on to new business C, financials 1 through 7. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Mr. Schenkel, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Werke?
Yes.
Mrs. Paprocki?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to new business D, personnel 1 through 8. Do we have a motion to approve new business D, personnel 1 through 8?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Kudos to Teresa and her staff. It's a late hiring season, but it's that time where you've got, Firing Up Learning Academy. I did share that KinderCare went out of business up here, so our Learning Academy may be picking up a little bit as an option for parents. But, salary upgrades, proud of our staff. I said that this morning. You got a lot of teachers that take classes over the summer and making sure that, that they're continuing their education. Obviously going to say thank you early on to our mentor resident educators that take on a mentor our new teachers. Got stipends in there for that. I would like to pull one out, but I guess it's not going to happen. Ann Smith's retirement, 25 years.
Me too.
We tried.
Me too.
We tried, but Ann has, she's been a saint here at the district to work with Todd. I say that out loud.
I work for her.
Yes. But we do appreciate it, Ann. Thank you.
Can you clone yourself or write down everything you know, or?
I've got a folder started.
Okay, thank you. We'll take that.
Mr. Schenkel, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Paprocki?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mrs. Werke?
Yes.
New business E, athletic personnel. Do we have a motion to approve new business E, athletic personnel items 1 through 4?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I think those are pretty pretty self-explanatory. There's just a little movement and it's had a couple programs and I've shared with you, those couple. So if you have any questions on that, but they're good staff, and some good spots filled there.
I met Marcus, one of our new football coach, at the golf outing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was he helped us clean things up over here.
Yeah. He's a good
Yeah,
guy.
very good. He's really excited to be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, good to see some good young alumni. Yes.
Mr. Schenkel, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Gregg,
Yes.
Mr. West,
Stay.
Mrs. Werke,
Yes.
Mrs. Pepperrock.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to new business F. Miscellaneous,
You're right
1
on there.
through 3. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve new business F miscellaneous items 1 through 3?
So moved.
Oh, who was that?
One of them.
You're so close. Okay.
Lisa?
Second.
Discussion. I'd just like to thank Pleasant Plain Presbyterian Church, Martha Holden Jennings Foundation, and Costco for their donations. I know on behalf of the Goshen Board of Education and the district, the support is very much needed and appreciated in every way, shape, and form. So thank you to those who donated.
Can you hit on the bus routes, just how that was?
Yeah, so I mean, what you guys got in your packet is really just the bus routes and the stops that they're gonna make. So, if it's bus 10 and they're making their run, you're gonna see the different stops as far as where the stops are at. With these new neighborhoods, we may be adjusting those. Not just maybe a route, but also where we can go into those neighborhoods. We're kind of working with no question on those, but just by law, you have to approve the initial set of routes for the year, knowing that, we got X amount of routes and X amount of stops. And really, if anybody were to question a stop, that's where we're able to look up and say, okay, here's where this bus stops if we get into safety or anything like that.
Do you know how we are on bus drivers?
We're good on bus drivers
Are we?
right now. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're starting here. He's getting a lot of sub interviews in there and I feel like we're in a good spot.
Good.
I just appreciate how many local bus drivers we have, like
Oh, yeah.
parents in our district. I think it's
Yep.
sense of powerful message, right? Mr. Schenkel, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gray,
Yes.
Mr. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Werke,
Yes.
Mrs. Pepperrock,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
All right, moving on to new business G policy. This is going to be broken out a little bit because of the recommendation to waive the first reading. So do we have a motion to approve the resolution of waiver of the first reading of revised board policy?
So moved.
This is the cell phone, correct?
Correct.
Second.
Discussion. I know there's a lot of the discussion was earlier
Yeah.
when Teresa presented. Mr. Schenkel, can you please call the roll?
Mr. West,
Yes.
Mrs. Werke,
Yes.
Mrs. Pepperrock,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Gray.
Yes. Do we have a motion to approve the revised board policy, which is item number 2?
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion? All the discussion happened earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Schenkel, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Werke,
Yes.
Mrs. Pepperrock,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Gray,
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
And as noted earlier, new business age policies for first reading, which Mrs. Scherzinger reviewed, but there's a first reading of graduation requirements and a first reading of cybersecurity. Any follow-up questions to those at this point? Okay, we actually don't vote as it's a first reading, so moving on to new business I, Board of Education reports for board committee roles and liaisonships. So Melissa, audit finance, facilities, and OSBA student achievement.
No, nothing major. I will send a couple of links from student achievement regarding family engagement strategies to help absenteeism that you find them to be helpful. Everything.
We'll take any help we can get.
Exactly. And there was something on creating literacy stations. I mean, I know we're all over that. It was.
I always think it's really interesting just to get ideas from other places.
Exactly.
So I always appreciate when you send that to us.
So send those to you too. The two links.
Bill, Facilities Committee, Community and Staff Public Relations Committee, and Great Oaks.
I see on here, further down, Brian has in his report for the Veterans First Responders Night for Public Relations Committee. It's August 23rd at 5 o'clock. And that's going to be in the middle school. It worked out well last year. A little easier for them to get to the stadium for the school. And as for Great Oaks, last month when I missed this meeting, I was at the Ohio Career Tech Education Conference in Columbus. It's a lot like our Capital Conference. We went out and toured the Intel site. They're building up there in New Albany. They're basically putting the foundation for the place in now. It's massive. It's going to be incredible for that community. But it's really touched every county in Ohio. Like they said, of 88 counties in Ohio, I think like 68 people have, or 68 counties, residents of 68 counties are involved in construction of that. Wow. There's a lot of construction jobs, which it touched on the construction jobs, trades jobs, and several breakout sessions. But yeah, with the chip plant up there is huge. Gonna have a lot of jobs, and then they're gonna have a supplier park around there too. It's gonna be a lot of jobs. So it's great. What a great land or a great job they did for Ohio to land that to land Intel. It's gonna bring a lot of businesses. I mean, it's incredible. And actually, the lobbyist for Intel is a Manchester grad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he was showing us, he's the one that led our bus tour of the site. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Some of the breakout sessions I attended, talking about student wellness, a lot of things we touch on here. Things to figure out like what programs to offer, whether it needs future jobs in Ohio. Again, things that Mr. Dobbs is on top of. I mean, it's a lot of things that again, this is for career tech education, but it's funny how great of a job we do that here. How a great job we do that here too. They spoke a lot about trades, getting the kids interested in trades, because that's still a huge need for the state. And I also went to some sessions on AI, which that's why I asked about what we have as far as what we subscribe to. But you're getting in touch on that at the Capital Conference too. And that is all I have. Oh wait, no, one other thing. Sorry. We're looking at how we had the ribbon cutting. We had the Live Oaks, remodeled Live Oaks recently. Scarlet Oaks is the next campus in Sharonville to get the big. It's going to be quite well. We're still looking at I think there's 7 or 8 different plans we're evaluating now. But yeah, that's the next campus to. It's going to be a pretty big transformation there. Probably end up being larger than Live Oaks. Transformation. Is that right? Yeah. Alrighty, that's all. Promise.
Thank you, Bill. Lisa, CIP, Business Advisory, and Legislative Liaison.
Mine is short and sweet. So for legislative, they've not been in session, so there's no updates. They're on vacation. So, and then business advisory and CIP have not met since last school year, so no updates there as well.
All right. Corey, I think you're on 2 of those, plus Goshen Township.
Yep, yeah, I talked to Bob Hausman at Goshen, so we're getting ready for Homerama August 10th or 22nd at 10, and then they're moving forward with the new fire station plans. So more to come with that. So.
Thank you. And Audit and Finance met last month, so nothing new in the past month. I'll add to Bill's. We also talked about public relations. They're going to We're gonna move the senior citizen event to spring, so if any of the senior citizens are asking, I know we have lots of engagement at that event. So we are gonna look to move that back to spring how it used to be, and we're looking at a few different events that happen up here with our high school drama and
Dinner and show.
Dinner and a show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really nice. I love that idea. So I'm glad we're taking it back to that. And then Goshen Education Foundation, as many of you know, participated in the golf outing was another great successful year. We'll have some updates coming out in that after the Education Foundation meeting this week. And then there is a new event that I announced last month, the Boots Bourbon and Barbecue. The deadline to purchase tickets are September 1st. So if you're interested in that, make sure you purchase your ticket and encourage others to purchase their tickets before September 1st. And that's it for my 3 areas. Any questions for others?
Can I wear my work boots? The boots for-
Absolutely.
Cowboy boots. Hiking boots, I like.
Wear your hiking boots. All right, so moving on to new business. J, Superintendent's Report. Mr. Bailey?
Yep. All right, number one, we've just been having some conversations regarding board member compensation, how it's tracked. I had to go do research on this because my role, it's not something I had touched and has thought about it. So in doing it, I'm gonna kind of go through with you guys my understanding of our policy and revised code and just make sure that we're all on the same page with what we can and can't do or what we are doing. I'm not going to bore you with this, but essentially there's revised code policy that speaks to Board of Education compensation. And really what it speaks to is the maximum, it cannot exceed $125 per meeting attended. No member of school district Board of Education shall receive compensation under this division at total of over $5,000. So revised code speaks to that. And then a little bit there as far as what board members can be compensated for. They can be paid compensation as respective board members by resolution for attendance at approved training programs, provided that such compensation shall not exceed $60 for a half day I'm reading this from far away, a day for attendance at a training program 3 hours or fewer in length, and $125 for attendance at a training program longer than 3 hours in length. So then I, wanted to look at board policy and just see where we match with that. As permitted by law, the board votes prior to January 1st to set rate of compensation for members of the board. Compensation for board members may not be increased during their term of office. Increases must be made prior to the beginning of the term. So this is our board policy. And then compensation is at minimum level, or maximum level, sorry, authorized by state law, which I just put down below there. It's not in our policy, just reminding us it's $125 or $5,000 a year. And this rate applies to all board meetings attended by a member of the board upon commencing his or her term of office. So my first question to Todd was, where do we set that rate of compensation? And essentially, Todd, is you guys do an appropriation each month on his section that has a board service fund and a board compensation fund that we have earmarked, which I'll go over that in a minute. So when we say when we vote, you guys do those appropriations each month, so that budget's in.
Yeah, it's part of that. I mean,
We
like
don't directly pull it out and say those two, but you're approving his budget, which has many little budgets inside of it.
the fuel line,
Right.
like anything that, it's in detail on that, so.
And then action taken at the annual organizational meeting on the establishment of the board service fund to pay excess expenses actually accrued by the board member or member-elect in their official duties. The sum set aside will not exceed the maximum amount permitted by law, which is $20,000. The fund is used at the board's discretion to provide members participation in workshops and conferences. For new board members, member orientation and development, for other expenses in connection with assigned duties. Again, we approve that board service fund annually. So with that being said, that's compensation. And then you have a separate policy, BHBA, that covers conferences, conventions, and workshops. So, looking at that, I'm not going to bore you and read the whole thing, but a couple sections I highlight. Funds for participation at such meetings are appropriated annually in the board service fund. When funds are limited, the board designates which of its members participate in given meetings, reimbursement to board members for their travel expenses in accordance with the board's travel expense policy. And then when conference, convention, or workshop is not attended by the full board, those who do participate are requested to share information, which we do that. Now, the bottom of this is where trying to understand, it says board members may receive compensation for attending board-approved training programs. A board member desiring to attend a training program should have the board take action to approve each training program. Compensation amounts are determined by the length of the program, and that goes back to revised code language, 60 or 125. So in looking at this, here's what currently Todd has our board compensation fund set at and what he has our board service fund set at. So, there's no statutory minimum or maximum amount of meetings for which a board member can be compensated for, but the board may impose such limits through board policy. So I'm looking at that. That's kind of where that's set, and I'm not going to do the math. We'll do it here in a minute, I think, but he's got that set for what we currently do. So in regards to board compensation, we use board minutes for tracking the attendance. In December of each year, we provide a payment to each board member at $125 for any organizational, regular, or special meeting they attend during the calendar year. So if you do the quick math on that, it's probably 14 meetings unless we have some other type of specials that we have to call. And that's where that, if you go back to that $10,250 that Todd has set, it's to pay for organizational, regular, and special meetings. The specials are obviously our retreat and the financial at the end of June. And then, the question as I was looking through this, as it came up, committee meetings, I contacted board attorney and OSBA because our policy does not speak to that. Their answer to that was committee meetings are not considered a meeting of the board as there's not a quorum. So only 2 board members serve on each committee. So they would advise not compensating for them, which is why we never have. And as we call around and talk to other districts, there's no districts that compensate for committees. I assume for that same reason. But I wanted to make sure on that. So with that being said, as we look at compensation, it's something we haven't talked about. And my understanding is right now, we've always approved capital conference or any, BLI or, whatever pieces we approve that through discussions of the board. But it's really to follow the travel policy that we have in place. So we approve that. We're going to provide compensation for expenses. That's mileage, hotel, food. That follows the policy. So we don't really take a separate vote on that. If I'm reading this correctly, if we're going to compensate for the $60 per day or the $125 per day, I believe we would have to take a motion to approve any professional development we're going to go to so that we can provide compensation. Does that make sense? Because as you look at that, you set that board service fund, and if we're in a tough time, you're going to make decisions on what pieces of professional development one or all members of the board are going to go to, because that impacts that fund. But the way I read that is, yes, we can compensate for the 60 and 125 a day, which we have not done in the past. We've just done the expenses and hotels and the travel piece of it. If we want to do that, I think it's just simply, if we're going to say capital conference, then we need to take a motion to approve capital conference so that then compensation for those can be done at that 60 or 125.
Or BLI.
Or BLI, or it just,
anything.
I think we've pretty much got our set agenda of conferences that you guys go to. But if there's something else that comes up, obviously those things would need to be discussed because it is impacting 2 budgets there. And you want to make sure that if that's what we've set, now, obviously always the opportunity is there to, as I said, that board service fund can go to 20,000. We got it set at 10. That would be a discussion that you need to have with Todd, directing him to increase that so that we can, one, if there's more, if there was something that we were wanting to go to someplace else that's not just Columbus, or if we're going to get into that compensation piece for those daily pieces, we would, one, need to increase that. And then two, approve those take a board action to approve the trainings. And then three, we would need to put a process in place how to document the hours, probably inside the travel packet somehow, because we don't have a form that would say for, obviously Capitol Conference is pretty easy. It's 3 days. But if it's, BLI, I forget, it's 3 hours, or it's new board member was, I don't, some of them are 3 hours, some of them are a couple hours, some are not.
And then sometimes people can't make it to all 3 days.
Correct.
And really, the 120, it's been 125 for, oh my God. I mean.
Now that's ORC. That
Correct,
was
but I mean,
changed
it's
back
been
in
years.
16, I think. Yeah.
It's been years.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had it at that. So those amounts has just been, basically 14 meetings. And then, if there's another special in here, that's how that was all, come up with, but, for the most part. So.
I didn't even think there was any compensation. So.
Got the December check yet?
Till that came.
So, I just wanted to present you guys with the information. If you guys want to have a discussion, again, it was a good learning experience for me too, because I haven't dug down that deep. And I will say, like anything in education, nobody's paid enough for anything they do, whether it's a Board of Education, especially, some spots, it's just that piece of public dollar and whatnot, so.
So you said that there are no districts in our area that provide compensation outside of.
In the research we did, correct, in the research we did, they pay for regular, special, organizational, no committee, and no PD. That's Claremont County. I mean, and a little bit outside, just because I wanted to make sure we weren't doing, anytime we have that, whether it's, heck, we've done it with a bunch of different pieces of that, just to make sure that we're staying in line with
Best
neighboring.
practices, yeah, best practices. Can you go back to the budget slide, the 10,000?
So again, the top on the board compensation is your board meeting pay.
Right, currently we spend 8750 with the
Yeah.
leeway of 2 additional meetings in
Correct.
case something were to come up in a year.
Right, and the comp, it's just, it's normally in that area for the hotels and the food mileage, on that workshop there. Just ballpark.
So are there any questions related to this?
Anybody got any feelings on it? As far as, my thing is, I was talking to some other board folks. My thought is, if we're anything that takes me away from my family or work life, I think we should to look at that, to be fair, if we're discussing business for the board. That's my view on it.
I've always kind of looked at it as just a public service, but are you referring mainly to
Professional development.
like professional
Yeah, just to
development,
make
like
it better, to be
OSBA,
better.
Yeah.
Personal development.
OSBA and BLI? So if we change to being compensated for either a partial day or full day of something like OSBA,
I think the board would just need
We
to
would need to
approve that
approve.
training program and who's going. And I would honestly, I'll have to do, I didn't dig into board agendas to see what other districts, how they approve this. I'll need to coach myself up and talk a little bit on
yeah, I
what
can
that
do.
looks like on an agenda. But yeah, I mean, and I think looking at that board service fund, that may have to increase a little bit from that side. But again, you guys make appropriations each month on Todd's piece where you can amend that budget.
Right.
for that.
Well, and on there, I mean, if you look at other districts, I mean, most people don't have a 5-year forecast and most people don't have the appropriations and estimated resources because usually they'll do the beginning, you got to do your official certificate, and then we have our special meeting at the very end and they just make it all kind of match and go through there. So I like to try to track it a little bit. I mean, we're going on. So like the appropriations, I would just change that at the next meeting. You would see where I would just up it, up to the $20,000 one. And
But don't we have to vote on that in January? Like, is it?
Well, I mean, they say by January 1st, yeah.
So this would be for next year.
And I was careful. I put that OSBA, because there's one on there that, number 3 on that, I think, the amount of compensation for current board member now may not be increased or decreased. By doing the paying for training, that's not increasing. That would be if we were upping, let's say that ORC changed and it was now $150 for a board meeting. You'd have to vote for that before the next general, so and anybody sitting does not get that until they're reelected.
Right, so only the
That
reelected.
makes sense, yeah.
correct.
And
So I just want to
did it for the
clarify
2
that
years.
we're safe to make that type of change because it is not an increase in compensation because it's already an approved method of compensation.
And then when, Corey, originally you asked about this, I also talked to some other boards. And I do know, like, I think it was Batavia, they actually, the additional compensation, the board puts towards a scholarship for the seniors, which I thought was really cool too. You know me. It's like, oh, a scholarship opportunity. But, I saw that another board does that, like they're able to put the additional 125 for, going to OSBA and to like a scholarship fund that they give out every year as the Board of Education.
I think anytime, as I looked at that, if you waive compensation or donate the compensation, it's just you guys have to look at with your taxes council to be taxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going to be taxed on it.
You're still
So,
taxed,
yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's only,
I've
if-
read,
that would only be if we
Accept
claimed that compensation, though, correct?
That's why I say talk to your tax.
We'll have to bring our
I mean, if it's,
financial.
yes, okay.
a little bit I've read on it, they recommend it if that you're going to donate it back, you go ahead and issue the check and then you just pay back. And then that way all your taxes and Medicare, everything flows out. I mean, that's what I heard on that. So.
That makes sense.
So this is basically a discussion that we should have before the first of the year if we're going to change what we've done. Am I reading that right?
No, this is, everything's already built into this already. We've already voted on this would just be, we'd be just voting on the 60 per day and the 125.
At the conference?
You
Right.
would be approving capital, like let's say, and I'd have to look at this, if you're interested in the 1,625 opportunity, probably before November, before we go to the capital conference, like in October, you're probably going to approve capital conference for
Officially
the
on the
following
board.
individuals. Make sure that board, that training program was approved.
But can I ask a clarifying
Yes.
question? Because this would come out of the board service fund that
Correct.
we voted on the first of the year of $10,000. How much do we use? I know we had several people go to BLI.
I'd say if you're going to start getting,
Compensation fund.
if you're going to start getting, but this would come out of your service fund because it's, well, you could increase either one, depending on how you want to do it.
Can you go back to the, thought the,
Oh, because it's the 125 or 60.
yeah, the service fund covers the cost for the conference, the
Correct.
convention and the workshop.
I think that's the one you'd be increasing.
Yeah.
Well, the compensation fund.
See, that's where we'll have to get some answers. I didn't dig that deep. If we're going to increase it for compensation,
But you have to increase it before the first of the year.
right, which,
We're already at the max anyway, so that doesn't.
right,
Yeah, so we're.
well,
we're at the
service fund, we're not at the max.
So.
No, talk about total for the.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our board compensation, that line is actually, is a salary object code when we get down into the weeds. So it's coming out of salaries. the expenses is coming out of a purchase services line. I mean, so that's where we pay you for all your meetings, and then the board server, that's like, we pay for lodging, we pay for your meals, that sort of thing. Is what comes out of that 10,000.
But if
Is that making sense?
No, but if compensation for going to that, that'll come out of the
Well,
service fund also.
We know,
Compensation for the
we'd
conference.
up the board compensation.
Or compensation fund, yeah.
Just if you're paying more, if you're getting paid to go,
That would be on the
we would up our compensation.
The service fund wouldn't change. The service fund wouldn't change.
I think they're saying that because it's not compensation, you don't have to do it.
We're not changing the expenses that we're paying for capital. That's the board service fund. If you are gonna approve
Yeah.
for compensation for those, I think it would be that you have to change the compensation amount. And it may be, I don't know that the $2,000 that's left in that is enough or not. Again, I'm just giving you details here, not details,
Yeah, there's only $1,250, which we budgeted for roughly two
Yeah.
additional,
correct.
and typically OSB is 3, so, that's what I was asking. Is that what we have to vote on though, before the first of the year for that budget to increase? But we shouldn't vote on an increase now, mid-year.
But I think the increase now is what Mr. Bailey said about the 125. That's what you got, that's set by code.
Right,
Right
right,
there.
right.
The other part, like if you guys know you're gonna be getting paid, I mean, you can up that. I mean,
Well, I
On-
just
on the
think.
budget.
It is
on the
taxpayer
budget.
dollars, so if
Yeah.
you want to, keep that in mind.
Well, and I think like anything, we're always auditing tape. We're not flying to Las Vegas or anything like this, like other
No.
districts do, or don't use Las Vegas, but a bunch of out-of-state conferences and things. I mean, we're going to Columbus once a year, a couple of BLI things, so we are responsible with this. And
Yeah, but
That
I
opportunity's
just
in there.
personally don't feel it's right. I mean, this is not my job. This is, my public service. And so I feel that this is why I take, paid time off from my job. So I get paid time off. So I don't need paid to go to a conference. That's my choice to do that, to serve our school and our district, to better myself, to do a better job for our community. So I don't think that we should be compensated. It's more than generous that you pay for my meals and my gas. That's plenty. So
Yeah, attending those is not a requirement of your elected position.
Yeah, I mean, I've never expected compensation from the BLI or capital conference. So I mean, it's.
Is this something that's traditionally done as an entire board?
I mean, I'm just saying, in calling around, I don't know that I'm gonna have to dig to figure out, because no other local boards right now are paying,
The conference?
like, yes, they're just doing the services, not the compensation piece, so. If we're gonna do something like that, I'm gonna have to find somebody that's doing that, and what's their process? Reading the language, the process is you board approve it, and then I'm sure it could just be as simple as in your travel packet, there's a timesheet, time log, and if you so choose to turn that time log in to be compensated, you turn the time log in, and it's like a cup of coffee that I bought that I don't want compensated for, I don't turn the receipt in for. It may be that simple, I don't know, honestly, this was a learning experience for me just to even know that side of it. So I can continue to look at this a little bit and come back with options. But again, in the end, it's going to take some board approval there on increasing a fund and approving
well, I don't think
which
we
conferences.
should. I guess we would have to
Vote as a board.
vote as a board if we want you to, but I don't think this is what you should spend your time looking into anything more.
Well, what I would say then is, if, as you guys go through this, and if there's more conversations, you guys have the conversations, provide me any direction in the future. I'm, Todd, happy to look into it. Any changes we need to make, we can make. So, if you guys discuss, that piece of it. I just we had those conversations, and I just wanted to make sure I did the research and you guys, can make decisions moving forward, direct us as needed. But I'll do a little bit more just because I'm that type of person. I'm just not gonna put that down. I do want to know if that's happening, how they're doing it. Yeah. Because it's OSBA policy, somebody's doing it, it's just nobody locally is.
I would like to know, like, if the whole board could receive, like, what everybody, like, in Claremont County, like, what other boards in Claremont County are doing. Because, it is a best practice thing that I would like to align with other public service officials, especially since it is taxpayer dollars. It kind of feels weird to make a decision on your own compensation. I've never been in that position. So I think it would be helpful to make a decision as a board moving forward, knowing what every other district's doing.
Okay. All right. Been a long night. Appointments. Oh, sorry, this is your part of it. No, this is my part.
But
Appointments, adopt the building.
I think we discussed this a little bit. I discussed individually with everybody. Because we just took on the appointments the first of the year, that we were going to continue to maintain that since we voted on it in January again. But since it's a new academic year, I discussed with each one of them about their interest in adopting the building. And usually we do this in August. So is anybody interested? Typically we swap, like we move buildings. We don't stay in the same building. So we can continue to build relationships with the other administrators. So board, any interest from each one of you?
I would be interested in the middle school, because yes, so moving out of Spalding to the middle school, because I do help the PTO with the middle school events that they have there, the luau and snowball dance and such, with setting all of those up during those school day hours, so.
Middle school. Is everybody okay with Lisa taking middle school?
Sure.
Awesome.
I think I'd like to do high school as well.
I've already done Mark Cook and Spalding too. I'm not, if you wouldn't mind, sorry, I've already done those two. So I was gonna say the high school, so, but.
Yeah, I would like, no, I would still do high school. That's just where I'm at most of my time. So we can have two.
Corey and Melissa at the high school. I'm willing to go wherever, guys. Bill, what would
I
you
already
like?
told you I'm picking last, so I'll take
Oh.
whatever's left. You pick.
How about I'll take the little ones this year. I'll go Mark Cook. Are you all right at Spalding?
I can peek in and make sure my wife actually earns her paycheck.
I'll worry now.
Spalding has a lot of fun stuff.
They do.
All right, so I have it down as Lisa at the middle school, Corey, Melissa at the high school, Bill at Spalding, and I'll take Mark Cook.
And then appointments stay the same.
All appointments stay the same. We're all okay with that as
Yes.
well?
Okay.
Correct?
Oh, yeah.
All right, moving on. The exciting moment that we get to select a delegate for the OSBA Capital Conference.
That was still fun, like,
Business
here.
meeting. So we do take a motion here to approve the appointment of a delegate and an alternate. And that business meeting, it will not be held virtually prior to the conference, but the business briefing, will. And then the meeting is on Monday, November 11th at 2:30 as it stands down in the Union Station ballroom. So I just would need you guys to make a motion on a delegate and an alternate. Any volunteers?
Is everyone going? Do we know?
I'm interested in going, yes.
Yes.
Capital Conference. Yes.
Capital Conference.
Yeah, 2 Capital Conference.
Yes.
I was just curious.
All right, so Lisa, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun being the delegate last year. That's kind of
It
up my nerdy alley. So,
goes hand in hand with your legislative liaison.
well, yeah, but I mean, I enjoy things like that. I know that's odd, but I do.
That's because you weren't in there
I
2
didn't
years
see
ago.
Yeah, that's because you didn't do the mega session like I did. But it was interesting and I
2 years
was.
ago,
yeah.
it was rough. Couple years in a row. It was rough.
4 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we do, like last year, we did a pre-conference training
Yeah.
session that was online, and that was like 2.5 hours or so. So I think that really made that session at the conference go much more smooth.
There you go. So can I have a motion for Lisa to be the delegate?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
Or
those
do we-
opposed? This is a simple.
Oh.
It's not a roll call. And then I need a delegate, or I'm sorry, an alternate. We need a vote on that one.
Oh, I can alternate,
They just need to.
alternate as the alternate.
Something happened. Melissa Paprocki will be the alternate. Thank you.
Corey, you're getting off easy. Usually it's the newest person.
Thanks for volunteering.
I noticed Melissa's hand didn't go flying up at all. but that
Not
was-
as quick.
Melissa still has PTSD.
No, it was very interesting. It really was.
I have PTSD and that was 3 years ago.
I was expecting worse, and it was funny.
All right, real quick, I just put some dates out there. Southwest OSBA Fall Conference at Laurel Oaks is Thursday, October 10th. We'll get a head count for that at a later date. Open house nights, you guys have, if you haven't seen that everywhere, we've got open house tonight, tomorrow night, and Wednesday night. Veterans First Responders Night, as Bill said earlier, Friday, August 23rd at about 5 o'clock. We'll start pushing out communications on that. I think it's made it to the local VFWs, American Legions, Claremont County Vietnam Vets group. But we'll do cookout and then honor them, and we will choose an honorary captain of one of our veterans before the game for them to do the coin toss out there with the captain. So, but it's going to be in the middle school cafeteria.
Obviously, after the start of the year, can we post that on social media?
Yes, there's a flyer that's ready to go.
Perfect.
Yep. And then homecoming parade, I said that this morning, that the grand marshals have been selected. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes.
Hillary kind of said, do we announce this morning? I'm like, I can figure out where to fit that in. Yes. So Mike Winterberger and Lisa Smith. So the theme of that and all that stuff to be continued. I'm not sure what the theme will be this year, but we'll get all that information out soon. I did have one other that I just want to make you guys aware of. That came to us on Friday, the final agreement. Beacon and Dreyer are dropping us as our athletic training service. They have done this at several other schools in the area. It's due to the lack of athletic trainers and them having bigger contracts with more revenue coming in at bigger schools, and they do not have trainers at those schools. So currently, Todd and I and Scott Wake kind of putting our feelers out on. I feel like there's some options out there. Their last day with us is December 31st. So we need to after the second half of the school year, so at least through fall season. But we've got our feels out and some conversations. I just didn't want you guys to catch up through the grapevine. But it's kind of the nature of that game right now. They just don't have enough trainers, and they're going to put them where the revenue's coming in a little stronger if they're bigger schools. They've got contracts with them. There wasn't out in ours that usually it's a 30-day. They could have just dropped us in 30, but at least got us through most of the season. So I will update you as we work to try to find a solution for that. Other schools are struggling with the same thing, so we might all be going to the same well here trying to get other options, but we'll see. Got some backup plan.
We can't do sports without one there, is that,
You can,
okay?
yeah, you can. There's nothing that's just, you know, an athletic trainer operates underneath a physician.
Okay.
Essentially what it is. But yeah, you don't need a team doc, you don't need a trainer, you could have the EMTs covered.
Okay.
You know, Land had this happen to him with Beacon last year. Reading just had it happen to him. I'm not gonna hear all the dirty laundry, but yeah, it's happening and we're all kind of
Just in
collaborating.
detail that we would pay the EMTs, or they just?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
That's kind of what, you know, and I'm hoping that's the last resort to call around to see what these others are, how they're doing that. You could also get, you know, somebody you know, that has the therapist type of certification to see if they would cover things. It's just, you know, it's a disservice to our kids. We'll find the service. I mean, we need somebody here working with our kids, figure out how to get it done.
Could you hire someone independently as a?
They would have to have a physician they're working with. So that's what physician's gonna sign off on.
Anything from Health Source of Ohio, anything maybe?
Might be a conversation. Just trying to, it's one of the lines that are out there right now. We'll figure it out.
Have they been into anything like that? Okay, Salesforce,
Uncharted. But that's
Yeah,
what's that? They would.
I mean, you guys know that Beacon, we're not paying a dime for that.
Yeah.
We don't pay anything for that. It's essentially a referral business.
Yeah, they send us.
Right, so, so that's the side of it where if there's another route to go, you may have to, I don't know, use paid for it, I don't know.
Although
So,
they may see their numbers start to go down if they don't have people referring them to their place. They may send them back out.
yeah. Well, and that was a conversation we had with Brock.
I know lots of people have used McClung.
Yeah,
In the
no, I
last year.
know,
Yeah,
I know,
that was
so
kind of a shock when we found out, to be honest.
it's a business.
Because we thought we was doing pretty well.
Yeah. They're in the business, it's a decision, so. That's all I had.
Any questions related to?
I saw a post on Facebook about the student that we lost. They were questioning if we we're gonna have some sort of
Yes,
available for,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, the high school's preparing, they've communicated. Staff. I don't know, staff here. Stephanie will. be putting
I figured we
something
were,
out.
I just, someone asked, so.
Yeah.
John, yeah. We have a great mental health
We do.
group.
They're ready.
You know, I was talking to all of them on National Night Out, and like just to have them embedded in our schools, and it's such a powerful thing. And they're pretty committed to our
Oh, yeah.
district, so that's really good. Any other questions? All right, moving on to our final item, new business K, executive session. Do I have a motion to move into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual unless an employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual requests a public hearing?
So moved.
I'll second.
Todd, will you call the roll?
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Gray,
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Mrs. Markey,
Yes.
Mrs. Paprocki.
Yes.
And no action is planned to be taken after executive session.
Eliza has soccer practice out here. It's done in 3 minutes.